Okay, so on Friday we left off, we were doing equations with fractions, and third period you had a couple more refreshers than sixth and seventh, which is fine. It's no big deal. But after having you guys in class, I realized I could probably just do one example. So that's why it just looks like there's one example here. And then, of course, we did a couple of examples where we had a fraction and we used a common denominator. Again, third period, these might have been flip-flopped. So again, same problems, just in a different order. And we talked about doing the common denominator helps us to make this number a bigger value. But if we're going to multiply this by 9, we also have to multiply the 12 times the 9 and the 5 times the 9 so that they all proportionally get bigger. And that eliminates what we had once as a fraction, makes it a nice whole number coefficient, and now everybody's happy. Okay, so we did these two problems on Friday. Again, here was our common denominator 12. We practiced multiplying everything by 12. The fraction, the 7 had to be multiplied by 12, the fraction, and then the 4 also had to be multiplied by 12. Okay, and again, it just made it easier to solve it. So we're going to continue these notes. So go ahead and open your JAM to page 29, turn to page 30, and we're going to do a few more problems here with fractions. And then, of course, I'm going to give you an assignment to do along with this. Okay, so this will be example 3. And I'm just making these up as I go. So they kind of, it may turn out nice and neat. It may be ugly. So no telling. So let's say we have 2/3 x plus 6 equals 1/2 x minus 8. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So right away we realize, of course, we have fractions. So my common denominator for these two fractions, when I look at the 3 and I look at the 2, I would say my common denominator is 6, because 6 can be divided evenly by 3 and 6 can be divided evenly by 2. So then remember, I'm going to multiply everything by 6, right? Everything has to get 6 times bigger. So I'm going to have my 2/3 times 6 over 1x plus 6 times 6 equals 1/2 times 6 over 1x minus 8 times 6. And the reason that this x is here is because it was just part of this term, so I have to make sure it's still part of this whole term. Same with here. It was part of this term originally, so I have to make sure it's part of this term in the new form. So now I'm going to, what we did during 7th period yesterday, which was another way of looking at it, was we cross-simplified. So 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 6 two. 2 times 2 is 4, divided by 1 gives me the 4x plus the 36, because 6 times 6 is 36, equals, and here I can cross-simplify again. 1 times 3 is 3, divided by 1 is 3, so I get 3x minus 48. So now I have variables on both sides. I don't have any more fractions, everything's gone, cleared. We have values that are 6 times bigger across the board, so everything stayed proportional, and now we can just work on our two-stepper. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Remember, I'm trying to keep those coefficients. 4x minus 3x is x, plus 36 equals negative 48. Remember, there's that secret 1 here. We don't have to put it there, but if you want to, that's fine. And now I just have one step left. Subtract the 36 from both sides. And I get x equals negative 84. And that's nice because it's a nice number without being an ugly fraction. Okay, so if I were to put this negative 84 in here, if I took 2/3 of 84 and added 6, that would be the same as 1/2 of 84 and subtracting 8. So that's how that works there. We're balancing out the equations. All right, let's do another example. This one's going to be slightly different. I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but this is something else you need to be aware of. So what if we have something like this, where it's 1/2 times the quantity 5x plus 2 equals 3/4 x minus 9. Okay, so now we have some parentheses here. And up until this point, parentheses we would just distribute, right? But you can't easily take 1/2 of 5. So we're still going to clear our fractions, but there's a catch, okay? These little parentheses are going to act like barriers, like protectors. When you are clearing the fraction, you cannot multiply this by your common denominator. This is off limits. So first of all, my common denominator for 2 and 4 is going to be 4, right? So sometimes your common denominator for 2 of the numbers will be one of them. So I'm going to multiply the 1/2 times the 4, the 3/4 times the 4, and the -9 times the 4. I cannot touch this in here. Again, think of this as like little imaginary shields, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to have 1/2 times 4/1 times the quantity 5x plus 2 equals 3/4 times 4/1x minus 9 times 4. So everything got multiplied times 4 except what was inside the parentheses. So now I can do my cross simplifying. 1 times 2 is 2 divided by 1. So now I have 2 times the quantity 5x plus 2 equals, and I can cross simplify with these 4's, right? They each go into each other one time. 3 times 1 is 3 divided by 1 is 3x minus 36. Now I can do exactly like I would have done on the homework the other night. I'm going to draw my wall of equality. I'm going to distribute, use my little elf hat, which you all have been talking about, and I'm going to get 10x plus 4 equals 3x minus 36. Now I've got variables on both sides, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. 7x plus 4 equals negative 36. Subtract the 4, I've got my two-stepper. 7x equals negative 40. Divide by 7. X equals negative 40 over 7. That was very ugly, but that's okay. We did all the steps correctly, and that's our final answer. Okay, so again, like our first example, everything could be multiplied by 6 because nothing was protected by parentheses. And then down here for our next example, we could not multiply this because it was protected by parentheses, so we could only multiply the 1/2, the 3/4, and the negative 9. So that is the rest of our notes for today. So go ahead and go back to Canvas now and check in to see what the rest of your assignment is and have it ready for tomorrow, please. Thanks, guys.